welcome to Cherry Hill High School East's first Jubilee. You've all been randomly selected to participate today. Can everyone first go through and say your name and grade?
My name is Jacob Lomas, and I'm in 11th grade.
Kyle Lehrfeld, 11th grade.
I'm Nicholas Wynn, and I'm in 9th grade.
Ethan Coe, 11th grade.
And I'm Jack Rosa, and I'm a junior.
For those unfamiliar with Jubilee, we will be reading you some statements. If you agree with the statement, move to the right. If you disagree with the statement, move to the left. The Jubilee will be done on a spectrum. This means that the further to the left or right you move, the more you agree or disagree with the statement. As a reminder, your right means agree, and your left means disagree. Our theme for today is the high school experience.
I believe that East start time should be later. Ethan, can you please explain your view on this subject?
Just out of personal reasons alone, it is very hard to wake up at 6 to 7 a.m. And there's also multiple research out there that says that waking up at an earlier time has negative effects on thinking, mental health, etc.
I agree with those statistics, but it's also, I recognize there's logistical difficulties with it.
So even if you wake up early, like waking up early helps build discipline, because in a real job you're gonna have to wake up earlier. And then also, like what he said with the logistics, if we get home at like, for example, 3 something, then the kids in the elementary schools, like the buses trickle down, so they're not gonna get home until like really late, like 5 or 5:30 or something. So.
I believe that my voice is heard at East.
Ethan, why do you have this opinion?
It is definitely possible for the average student to voice their opinion out. I think the more bigger issue with this occasion is incentivizing them to speak out about what they think, such as this Jubilee, for example. And there are multiple ways people reach out, such as voting or answering questionnaires, but there definitely should be more actions in general, but not too much, which is why I'm not in a strong agree section.
I agree with Ethan. I think that there's a lot of ways. I also think that we stumble upon class representatives and class officers without even realizing that that's who they are. So I think there's a lot of representation.
I feel like there is like representation there, but there should be a little more, because I feel like at the end of the day, it's ultimately up to like the board with the teachers.
Yeah, what he said, most of the student government is like advisory, so they don't really make the decisions. It's more the Board of Education and senior school officials.
The way the question was like worded was that does my personal voice matter? And I feel that only maybe like higher ups of a certain grade, their voice may actually matter. So I think my vote may matter in a rep or like a class president, but I don't think if I was to state something, higher up would care.
East fosters an accepting community.
There's a lot of clubs and programs that are completely based around accepting certain races, religions, like identities.
Yeah, like with CSA and BCC, and then there's also Multicultural Day. It really helps students be accepted at East.
I think what all those things that are said are true and very helpful. I think that the school is very very reactive when it comes to diversity issues, but they tend to lack sometimes in the proactivity world. So I think it'd be better that's why I'm more neutral, because I think that they do a lot when people ask them to, but I think it'd be better for the school to go out of their way and try from the beginning.
East students receive too much homework.
So I'm a freshman. I don't get that much homework. As a freshman, I think the homework is like very tolerable and acceptable.
Me personally, I'm not in the like big AP honors classes like as of right now. So I mean, my workload isn't that bad, but I feel like we go through periods where it does get really bad for a little bit, and then it just goes back to being not as bad.
I think the workload is, it depends on the classes that you take, and it also is dependent upon your extracurriculars. If you do a ton of extracurriculars and you're in a lot of difficult classes, it can be overwhelming very quickly. But a lot of students who take a lot of AP classes know that they don't have a ton of time for extracurriculars, so they minimize that.
Like what Jack said, in that the major problem lies in that the workload is inconsistent throughout time, where you can have a lot of work punched up at one time, but have little to no homework at another time.
I enjoy my time at East.
I agree. I think that there's a lot of ways to get involved, to be more social, in addition to making it just an academic environment.
I feel like a lot of my teachers kind of get like the social aspect, right? And I feel like the social aspect is what makes like, East kind of really fun. So yeah.
Yeah, and then there's also a lot of extracurriculars that you can do for like certain interests you have, and then that's during the LBs and after school.
I perceive school as more on a neutral stance. It's a place where you go to learn. Of course, there are multiple benefits, but there's also multiple benefits in extracurriculars as well outside of school. School to me is more like an occupation, if any.
I sleep enough.
I get like, on a bad day, I'll still get like 7 hours. So I think that I budget time pretty well. I lack skills other places, but time management has always been like a skill of mine, so I've been fine with getting enough sleep.
Yeah, I make it a point to get like 7, 8 hours per night, so I think sleep is mostly like that discipline.
I manage my time quite horribly, unlike Kyle. I also procrastinate a lot, which leads to decreased sleeping time for me as well.
I get about 5 hours sleep every night, and I could do better. I just like to stay up late and like watch TV or something.
Yeah, studies show that like, good sleep is 6 to 8 hours, and I know for a fact that I procrastinate, and I'd rather spend my time at night doing things I enjoy. So I end up averaging around like 4 hours of sleep a night.
I truly enjoy where I am in life today.
It's a difficult question.
I think I've made a lot of progress. I'm pretty proud of who I am, and I feel like I'm looking forward to the future.
Everyone has good days and bad days, but I think my good days outnumber my bad days.
Looking at life from a general view, I know I should be thankful for the things I've given, and like the keys to have said. Also, I'm glad that I've been somewhat productive this year and we've gotten things done.
It's junior year. Yeah.
Nicholas?
So as a freshman, I think there's a lot of room for me to grow, and I kind of want to grow into what I want to become in the future. So I don't think I've gotten just there quite yet.
I feel that there's too much competition at East when it comes to academics and extracurriculars.
I feel like East has a very rigorous sort of academic field in many ways. For example, our cum laude sample size is humongous. We have a lot of people currently aiming for the highest schools, and there's plenty of valedictorians, summa cum laude people who are aiming for those higher objectives. I'd say our school is one of the most competitive schools, even though there are many other schools here at the East Coast, that are very competitive.
Yeah, competition definitely isn't a bad thing. I find us being one of the smarter schools that people are constantly striving to be smarter and educate themselves.
So I recently went to Ohio, and I was talking to my cousin who just graduated high school in Cincinnati, and I was telling him about like my grades and stuff, and he was like, "Are you taking like all AP?" And I was like, and he was telling me about some of his courses and what I was taking like sophomore year. He was taking like senior year, right? And I definitely think there's like it's very competitive.
While it can be competitive, yeah, I think there's like good support system, and then the East website provides a lot of resources for navigating through that.
I'm pretty neutral. I think this isn't a new question. I think that academics are pretty rigorous, but then again, there's different levels you can choose to take. And I think sometimes people get caught up in the fact that if you're not taking an AP course, then you're taking an A course, but there's really nothing wrong with taking an A course. And in terms of extracurriculars, I think there's probably at least 150 presidents of different things in this school. So there's plenty of room for people to become president of something.
I feel safe at school.
I think the school's done a pretty good job on like cracking down on stuff like fights, just like dangerous things in general. So.
The risks of something bad happening in our school or in any school is never zero. And our school does take great precautions, as Nick said, to safeguard our school from any threats, both external and internal. However, there are subtleties that prevent me from saying I strongly agree. Bathrooms are poorly kept, there's occasional fights, and especially in one of the more rowdier classes, a lot of arguing with the teachers, fights, physical and mental.
Yeah, I think our school is very safe. Although I hear that there's other schools out there, and I know they have like metal detectors at every entrance, and there's alarms. So comparing ourselves to those schools, I know we definitely are not that strict.
I think externally, like we're safe from external threats. The one thing that does worry me is the free-flowing entrance and exit before school starts. I personally get here at like 6:45 every morning, and the door is wide open for anyone who wants to walk in.
I would say I feel safe at East most of the time. I just feel like almost the once a month really big conflict is, it's like almost routine at this point. I feel like there's at least once a month there's this huge conflict. I remember there was the one with the girl fighting the security guard.
Oh God.
Yeah.
I want to pursue college or further education after high school.
I feel like I do not speak, of course, for everyone in the school, but I feel like a majority of our school are aspiring to go to a degree of higher education.
It's not a shock to me that we're like walled down this end. I think that there's plenty of opportunities, and there's really nothing wrong in I think people make college as more important than it needs to be. But I think that there's nothing wrong with someone getting a GED or anything like that. But personally, my personal goal is to attend college.
Jacob.
I've always been under the impression that I'm going to go to college. That's how I grew up, and then as well today I want to go to college.
Yeah, that's kind of been like the expectation to go to college, but get a good job. So.
Yeah, I agree. There's definitely an expectation, but I feel like, I want to go to college, yeah, but I feel like there's a lot of other things I could do instead of college, and I just think about that.
Hot dogs or sandwiches?
How far can I like
Yeah, so I completely agree. The logic makes sense behind it with how it's a meat and things within a month, but I don't understand why you would categorize them in the first place. They should be their own separate things. Hot dogs are hot dogs, subs are subs, sandwiches are sandwiches, etc.
Kind of don't know why I would somewhat agree. I guess you can believe that a hot dog can be a sandwich just as much as you can believe that it cannot. Like he said, it's pretty much meat covered in bread. So.
I personally follow the cube rule of food. If anyone's ever seen that, you should Google it if you haven't. But I don't want to get canceled, so I'm gonna stay here.
Alright, so I had a hot dog today, right? I don't eat a hot dog sideways like this. I eat it like this. A hot dog is a taco, but a taco has a tortilla, right? So it has bread, so it's a roll. A taco's a roll. No, a hot dog's a roll.
I disagree with all of you. It's its own thing. Like, it's not a sandwich, it's connected. It's not a taco, there's no tortilla, there's no like hard shell, it's its own deal. Like, let it be a hot dog.
Thank you for attending East's first Jubilee video. Any last comments?
Google the cube rule of food. I mean, it's a role.
Thank you.